shit show, wireless shit show. It's dark matter and Dale Kintaro. Wireless shit show, wireless shit show, wireless shit show.
This is your
do that for the intro. Do that for the intro.
I will. To the wireless shit show.
I don't even know what the beat is.
Ice, but
I'm gonna reball this bad boy.
Alright, let's do the clap and get into this. Fuck you guys, man, and noise canceling. Hey everybody, it's been a while. I missed a couple episodes. Oh, fuck you too, Mike.
We're not still clapping?
I missed a couple of episodes editing because life caught on to me and...
it wasn't just you. Don't take all the blame. Don't be the martyr.
And then fucking Iceman catches a cold. How the fuck does a guy who's handled his Iceman catches a cold?
Do you guys even have colds there? I thought like the cold weather killed everything.
And I'm like, the guy's Iceman. If he caught dengue fever, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Ice and
you'd be worried if I catch dengue fever.
Ice and heat don't mix. But fucking Iceman texts me, go like, oh, sorry guys, I have a cold. I'm not feeling well. I'm like, how does a guy named Iceman catch a cold and go down on it?
I will give you this. Everybody who comes to Sweden think, and you hear people here complaining about a cold. You will realize that Scandinavian colds are an extra piece of hell. So, a cold is nothing. And then the corpse catches the first cold ever in Scandinavia. And they are sick for 2 weeks. And yeah, so the colds in Sweden are exactly the people. They are bitter, rough.
They're the Vikings of cold.
Yeah.
they come and pillage your immune system. They show up from the north at night and just rampage through.
Okay, now my brain is like really going down this rabbit hole. I'm like, I want to see research papers. I want more. Teach me more medical system.
You have to get.
I have to put in a warning. We are now medical experts. We are barely experts on anything.
What do you always say, Katara? If we're your guiding light, you're fucked.
Yeah, if we are your guiding lights, you fucked up.
Makes sense though. So so I take full blame for that one though. However. That's why I got my dark, sexy voice right now.
We are all really worn out for some odd reason today. One reason, Iceman just woke up. He showed up in a total mess. Then he was like, oh, I can't do this. I have to go back. He went through makeup, came back with Mike, had to unload some of his stress 20 minutes in straight prior to the recording. I am, as you might have noticed, my backdrop isn't here and it's blurred because I am at home because I suddenly had to cook dinner for the family. Here's the thing. If you're watching this, let this be a life lesson. When you're suffering, remember, you're not alone.
You're never alone. Somebody else somewhere out there, probably on the same night star, is going through the same thing that you are.
Call up your friend and go, yo, you okay? Because I'm having a shitty day. I was worried you might have a shitty day. Reach out and touch somebody. Like, not like physically, because
that might be weird. I mean, unless there's like mutual consent and things. But what we mean is the more metaphorical, like reach out and have a conversation.
I mean more in a like 1990s AT&T commercial sense.
With or without party line.
All right, let's get into the news.
There's a shitload of news.
There's so much news. I don't know how much we can cover today.
The things that I see in my feed have just been absolutely insanity.
The one news I wanted to cover, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this a little bit, since you're the only one who has ever had experience with the Las Vegas Convention Center, Mike, how do you feel about DEFCON moving to the Las Vegas Convention Center?
I am cautiously optimistic. It's a convention center, but we were in a convention center space last year, and we've been in convention center space with like Caesar's Palace. We've been in convention center space at the Rio, and so I feel like people feel like it's going to be worse than it could be because it's like the Las Vegas Convention Center, and it feels like so massive. However, I believe we're in the west. I'm pretty sure it's west. It's like right across the street from where the old Riviera is, now the new Fontainebleau. I've been going to CES down there for 15 years. It's massive. It's huge, but that's over in the other building. This building's a little more small. It's more manageable. So the things that I don't know what they're going to do with is like air walls. Are they going to have air walls like they did at Caesars? I don't know how that's going to work. Is there going to be separation? Because it can get really loud in a convention center space if it is just convention center space. Kind of think of like the show floor at Black Hat. If you've ever seen the show floor at Black Hat, it's pandemonium. It's people like on mics talking over each other, etc. DEF CON brings its own kind of crazy, and I think we're going to bring our own kind of crazy. The biggest things I'm concerned about is people getting there because everyone's like, use the monorail. And so it's like everyone's going to be on the monorail. I don't know if they're going to allow for parking at the convention center. They'll probably have the far convention center space available for parking. So that might be a little bit tricky because usually the hotels have some decent parking. But if you're like super patient, you could go ride the Tesla tunnel. So there's a Tesla tunnel that'll take you like 1,000 feet in a Tesla underground.
The venue last year, the Caesars Convention Center, whatever
you had to walk there. You go across Sky Bridge,
but there were a ton of people lining up. As far as organization, I think the organization skills of DEF CON is higher than the crazy back in the days, kind of when there was like a 12-hour line con. Those days are gone, right?
I don't know. There's still line con.
Yeah, I know, but they're not like you line up at 7 or 4 in the morning or the night before just to get the ticket.
Oh, no, it still happens. I go visit LineCon every year.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. But it isn't like people sleeping out 2 days before.
Got it. Yeah. Right? Okay.
Processing power of DEF CON as an organization is way better than what it used to be.
Yeah, it's definitely grown over the years. And then we kind of regressed by going back to Paris and Bally's, and then we kind of grew again, and then it's like been a fun journey to be a part of for years and years. It's going to be interesting more than anything. It is absolutely going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
And
but I for one am optimistic. So
every year, first year of the venue is always challenging.
Totally. So, I remember the first year at the Rio. We went from the Riviera to the Rio, and the Riv, like, it was packed person to person. Like, there was no seeing talks unless you were the first person in line to that one talk. And it was just packed. And then we went to the Rio, and there was a little bit more breathing room, but we still had kind of a similar problem. And then not only that, we were so far away from everything. It was like a mile walk to get back to the Strip. And then it was cool to have Paris and Bally's. That was kind of cool. And the way the venue was split up, that worked out. But then adding Planet Hollywood, I had to do a demo in Planet Hollywood, and I was staying at the Link. And so it was literally 1.2 miles to walk from the Link to Planet Hollywood. Yeah. And it took about 24-ish minutes carrying all the shit I was carrying that year. Vegas is just big. It's not set up for lots of people, even though a shitload of people go to Vegas. Like, the transit's horrible. CES accomplishes transit a little bit better because they roll their own buses and have buses between stuff. CES is also, I think it was 360,000 people this year. It's like, across like 7 convention center spaces. Madness. So it's a different animal. I mean, we're probably going to be maybe 25, maybe 35,000 people. I think. Well, who knows? I think there's a lot of shell shock for people that we're expecting to go and improve upon last year. So I wonder how much that's going to have an impact
for Vegas. 30,000, 35,000 isn't a big gathering. It's
not huge.
For us, it is, right? It's the biggest for us. If you look at all the other stuff that they host, 35,000 is in the mid-range. It's not like huge. I was down there
for this thing called paparazzi, which I didn't know what paparazzi is, but it's basically like it's independent sellers costume jewelry. So jewelry for, that's like fancy looking and, people buy it, and there are a bunch of independent sellers. So they had a huge conference down there, and that thing was massive. That thing was bigger than DEF CON. That was like in all these different convention center spaces. And I was like, and these people are selling jewelry. Mad respect, but like, come on, hacker fam, let's get together. Let's throw a big shindig.
We'll see how it goes.
I think getting there is going to be kind of interesting. There is a couple of hotels that are close on site. There's the Fontainebleau. That one's the brand new hotness. That's the old Riviera. That one's going to be probably your most expensive option. It's not going to be too far of a hike to go if you stay at the Conrad and the Hilton. Resorts World. Resorts World won't be that far. When DEF CON, the first time it was in the Riv, I stayed at Circus across the street. I couldn't get a room at at the Riviera. So me and my buddy stayed at Circus Circus. So that's an option. You can go to Circus Circus. It's gonna be interesting. There's a Hilton nearby. There's a couple other properties nearby as well. And I think the official hotel that they're putting online is the Sahara Hotel, and that does have a tram station directly connected to it. And tram's going to be about $20 a day, I think. So, an Uber back and forth from the convention center is going to be about $15 to $18 with tip anyway. So you're going to be about $30 transit, going back and forth. So probably depending on how many people are on that's probably going to be the best option, or just walk. I mean, the Sahara, I think it's 0.75 miles, so that's not that bad of a walk. So all plausible options. I mean, Vegas in the summer, dead of summer. I mean, we do stupid shit like walk around and go running
DEFCON
even.
run last, yeah.
Yeah.
DEFCON run last year. There's also a change in the ticketing, right, this year. It's $4.80.
Pro tip, everyone out there, you are all doing awesome projects. Every one of you that I know. Now go submit your talks, submit to demo labs, submit to villages, get some of that taken care of for you.
So
or if you have a company that'll buy it, but I know a ton of companies right now are not doing any travel or not doing any expenses. Get involved, volunteer.
It is $4.80 this year, but the tickets are transferable and there's a cancellation fee this year. I understand with the economy and the new venue and whatnot, the price has to go up and whatnot, but $4.80 is getting up there. It's just like...
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Getting to that closer to the professional InfoSec conference pricing.
It's past the professional 480s.
No, I think 700 would be, I would consider the borderline of professional information security. It's not supposed to be, right? It's a hacker conference, right? So every time I point out that, hey, it's pricey, but I'm willing to support it, I get inundated with emails and DMs going, they're making millions every year. And I'm like, really? Because none of the organizers that I know are millionaires out of that.
I know all of them have like extreme full-time jobs, working multiple conferences. Yeah, and and I'm in the same mindset too. I'm like, I'm gonna support. I'm gonna figure out maybe a way that I can do a demo lab, or I can do something, or provide some content so that I can help offset some of those costs for sure. One thing that this does do is it opens up more hotel options that are not like on the strip. Yeah. And sometimes you can find, like, even staying at it. I stayed when I went to CES this year. Henry and I ended up staying at where's B-Sides at? My mind just went totally blank. Tuscany. Yeah, thank you. So we ended up staying at Tuscany, and we were able to Uber over really quick. It's actually, we walked it one day. It was like a 1.5 mile walk, so it's not even that bad of a walk from Tuscany to there. So, I mean, if you're doing B-Sides, I mean, you could just extend your stay.
If you have a good, cool project this year, submit. If you get picked, then you're $480 to buy dark matter merch,
Yeah. Darkmattermerch.org, .net.xxx.
You
can buy a signed card.
Yeah, like your backdrop there, that thing with the Wi-Fi cactus from DEFCON there. That's official merch, or is that you made it yourself? Or?
This was on a T-shirt last year at DEFCON.
Don't say yourself. It wasn't just on the T-shirt. It was all over the venue.
The reason why is today DEFCON had tweeted and put it on Mastodon, and they put the picture of me because I'm like pointing at it and like going crazy.
So the funny thing is they had that on the floor as artwork, and me and Dark Matter are walking by, and it's like, oh, let's take a picture with it. So we find this young kid go like, hey, you mind taking a picture of us? And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. So we lay down right next to it on the floor, and the guy taking the picture has no clue who we are, and no reason why we are lying next to him on the floor.
And then it went like a step further, remember, because there was the other people that showed up, like John Hammond and some of the others, and we all got him to sign his shirt, and he was like, didn't know, and then some of it started to click, so it was kind of funny.
That was funny.
We made a little bit of a scene.
So that's our take on DEFCON.
Side note, shout out, thank you to Mar for doing this dope ass art. It's an honor. It is absolutely an honor. Mara is amazing. Appreciate you.
The other big news that we do have to cover, Canada working to ban the flipper.
Yeah.
Hey, I just saw an ad from the official flipper that says that I can use my flipper to be my ski pass.
Here's the Renderman first tweeted about it, and then it picked up, and then I feel like this is one of those things where I don't think it's actually going to go through, but now there's a petition to save the flipper in Canada, and it's like snowballing into this massive thing. I don't think it will ever be a thing, but I feel like we have seen this kind of.
I feel like it's going to be a Streisand effect. You
Yeah.
tell people that you can't use a tool, you can't use a thing. What are they going to go do? They're going to go learn about it and figure out why people want it to go away, which is only going to spread it to more people. So I don't think it's going to accomplish what they want it to accomplish.
I'm no rolling code expert, and I think we should get Woody on it. I don't think the flipper can do what its supposed legislation tells it can do, right?
I don't know.
'Cause
Don't we have the expert?
Yeah.
Perhaps we need to read the firmware. No, you're down here right now.
What the flipper can do. Well, let's see. When it comes to the flipper being banned in Canada or the petition for it, I don't know. Because on the tweets or X or whatever you call it, is some people say it's banned and some people say it's just a petition.
Right.
And I just saw that was a senator doing a petition for something like that. And I doubt that it's a well-written petition. I think normally when you suggest a law change, it should be technology independent. I think you should then ban the concept. And I'm pretty sure Canada already has a law against stealing cars.
I'm sure theft is already illegal.
I think that's really covered. And it should be technology independent. I think that's a law, the petition that Senator does is just for show. It's something, brownie points, whatever you want to call it. It's something to say, yes, I'm taking action against this. And it's a natural counter thing about what we talked earlier this autumn about how people react to Flipper when we say it's too simple. So the mischief and all that mischief is going to make a reaction on the government of the state and legislation and bring it up because that's their duty to do it. So I see this as a natural consequence out of that whole scenario with it. It has to be proven. And legislation takes time, and execution of that law will be taking longer, but it's there for a reason. It's there because they want to have a dialogue, they want to have a discussion about it to see whether it does and what it doesn't do. And people can say, oh, sign up. I saw the latest thing today. I saw sign my petition against, for Canada. And now I'm like, I think you're missing the whole steps here and what's actually being talked and how that works, which, how the legislation works in the sense that we need to discuss about it and have committees about it and then, present it. A well-written suggestion for laws change. But I don't think the flipper is, like we said before, it's just the tool. That's not the problem. Problem is not that. What is the problem? Is it that it can be developed, it can change, you can add add-on boards, simple? Or is it that apps that you just download that enables you to do that? So if you compare it, you can't compare, it's like the phone. You can say it's the phone's fault, but I'm pretty sure you can put legislations on the phone, which they have already. So the flipper is not allowed to do radio frequencies. That's illegal for different states and countries. You can overcome that very simply with changing the firmware, of course. The next step is the App Store. That's the whole thing, what the flipper also built up. So they enable apps that do things bad. And I'm pretty sure the legislation is going to lock down that part. Say if you're going to have an app store, you have to follow, the apps that you sell or offer has to be limited and regulated. And the same thing goes for the next step after that is the makeup of such an app. And the countermeasure against this is, of course, that the illegal app store is going to show up. It didn't change the thing with, the firmware and the frequencies didn't change with official firmware. You just put it on an unofficial one and, Bob's your uncle, you can do whatever you want to get in the frequencies, right? There's a whole chain of things there that needs to be discussed in legislation-wise. And that is something that it continues going on, right?
What traditionally legislatures are trying to play catch up with that as well.
Yeah,
they don't understand it, so they're doing it from like their back feet.
But give them a year or two, they will have an understanding. They will have a proper understanding, giving the context that they need to take a decision from. So that's just part of it.
There's also the social media aspect of this FUD surrounding the flippers. There's so many TikTok videos out there that show the flipper being used to steal a car, but most of them I would suspect are staged. There's somebody off camera. It's like I'm old enough to remember when the car lock tennis ball hack was a huge thing on YouTube. Like if you drilled a hole in a tennis ball and you put it on the car key lock and you push the tennis ball, it will pop the lock. People were like crazy going over nuts. And then I think Mythbusters did an episode about it. Turns out that all of this was staged. There was somebody off camera with a remote lock switch and just clicking it, right? I saw a TikTok video that I thought was kind of funny. Is that this is how I used the flipper to steal bicycles from bicycle locks, and the guy had like a lock pick behind the flipper, and he was holding it like this, and you can see the pick sticking out, and he just kind of jams it into it and wiggles it and it pops the lock, right? It's one thing to have a deep fake, but there's a lot of staged videos out there that show things that are not possible. Those are attention grabbing video clips, right? So that those generate this massive ball of FUD around the thing for people who don't understand. And it's the same thing. Like we saw it with the Wi-Fi pineapple. We saw it with a bunch of other things. Like any of the gadgets that I built and I put out, I stopped doing it for a while because I was getting so many DMs saying, well, I built it the way you did it, but it can't hack my girlfriend's Instagram. And I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to do, right? Yes, legislation has to catch up, but it will never be ahead of the technology.
No, it shouldn't be either. Technology moves too fast.
Right. But at the same time,
that's why it should be technology independent.
We hackers should be like lawyers in the sense that if somebody has a question about a technology, they should call us and we can explain it to them.
You can all hire us.
I don't need politicians to be super savvy in encryption, right? I need them to be willing to listen to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so this is the point where, if you have a voice in the community, you should reach out and point out and like, yeah, that's not how none of this works. It's like, it's the same with the DDoS attack from a Bluetooth toothbrush.
Don't drop this subject. We're going to go into the toothbrush just 2 seconds. I want to add something to this flipper thingy there. And that's the following. The flipper with the Cedar app and this HID SAM thing can hack and downgrade any iClass credential very, very easy. Like one button clicks and do it. It means that it's under some airports has been very annoyed about it and they are really looking into it. I can tell you this, if you get stopped by the TSA or anyone else on an airport and you do have a flipper and they check your phone, if you have a flipper app on it, you are on a watch list. You will be. The consequences of having these TikTok videos, I don't think people understand how legislation, how security works in the governments and everywhere else. Completely different beast. That's what I want to end with.
I agree. People say that it's unlikely that this legislation will go through. Well, I will tell you a story about Tokyo. Tokyo, the city I live in, has a no-tool policy. I cannot carry any tools on me that can be used in a criminal matter, which means no multi-tool, no small pocket knives, no screwdrivers, no pliers. If I get caught with any of these tools on me and the police question me, they can bring me in for further investigation. Well, one, because we don't have a United States Fourth Amendment equivalent protection, like the police here can stop and frisk you anytime. But also Tokyo as a city, as a regulation, because we had so many burglaries that they institute a no-tool policy. You can transport a tool from one location to the other, but you have to have a justifiable reason to carry it. You cannot carry it every day on you. It is possible that one day they will ban it. There are other places in the world where the laws are even stricter. There are places in the world where having an RTL SDR will land you in jail because they're overly protective, or not overly protective, or they're very protective about their radio frequencies, right?
Yeah, may have been a subject lesson of that in China.
Right.
Yeah, allegedly in China, the rule states that unless you have explicit written permission from the CCP, you cannot capture radio waves in China.
Yeah. Or we had, even in the US, the 9th District Court with the whole Google Wi-Fi mapping issue, right? So it's not an unlikely scenario that a very aggressive legislation might come in place for radio frequency devices.
Also, we're not lawyers.
Yeah, we're not
lawyers.
lawyers.
Your lawyers.
Scroll back to the very beginning of this
EFF.org.
So we are no experts about anything.
But if you want to have our opinion about it, please, you
Yeah.
can take consultations from us.
Right. And this is barely our opinion, right?
And share us with your opinion in the comments of what you think about.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about it. Did you sign?
On the other hand, if they, so I was talking to a friend
Have you
of mine.
been frisked in Tokyo for tools?
I have. I have pictures of it too.
Right.
So one time I'm walking out, I get stopped by the police. They go through my stuff, and my friend walks by, takes a picture, sends it to me. So there's a new flipper light tool coming out, the M1. It's on crowdfunded right now. So there's going to be a bunch of these kind of tools coming out. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, if I ever come out with a hacker hardware tool I design, I'm going to call it something like butt finger something, right? When the lawmakers will have to talk about, yes, the attack is known as finger, smell my finger, using a hacking device, butt finger. It's gonna be shaped like this. This is the antenna.
Isn't there a USB hack malware attack on sex toys that looks like a finger?
So no, we go back again, right, to the Bluetooth DDoS toothbrush. At the same time, malware on a vibrator. There's so much. This seems to be a new thing, right? There was I think Hack5 did an episode a couple years back about a 3D printer that came with a software on a USB drive that when you plugged it in, it started communicating really weird stuff to a server in China. And we have seen this, right? We have seen the Samsung refrigerator, dumping a bunch of user data.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't that someone showing a laundry machine? He was like 47 gigabytes of data. I'm like, what the fuck is your laundry machine doing?
Once again, now is a good time to learn basic network monitoring skills, right? All right.
Anyway, yeah, give us the toothbrush thing because, fuck those sex toys. Because you always talk about butt sex toys. You go fuck yourself. So let's go over to the toothbrush and, clean your mouth a little bit. So that was something coming up as fucking news like a week ago or something, or 2 weeks ago, is massive malware net attack, bot attack on 3 million devices, something shitty like that on a toothbrush. I'm like, what is this internet of shit today? It's like, why can't we have Wi-Fi? Why would you have fucking Wi-Fi on your Bluetooth device?
Apparently, there was a article going out that a bunch of toothbrushes were infected with being part of a botnet.
The headline was active botnet, like 350,000 devices in active botnet, your toothbrush. But if you open the story 2 or 3 paragraphs down, I believe it has the word hypothetical.
Until
it says appears due to the translation of the narrative, where the hypothetical and actual scenarios are blurred. So I'm sure they had a hypothetical situation that got done translated into it's true. And we have seen this over and over again, and that's why as a translator, I'm very careful about my word selection. One of these days, somebody's going to take something I translated and go, yeah, that's not good. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what I meant.
Here's the thing. I think I love it because all of a sudden, everybody, hardware hackers, I see on Twitter and follow there. It's like, great guys. And it's like starting analyzing toothbrushes. Like, fuck off. It can't be done. And, they start looking into Bluetooth enabled ones.
Well, I mean,
someone actually found a Wi-Fi enabled fucking toothbrush, reversed the firmware on it and hooked it up. So apparently he can actually run those wheelie thingies on a toothbrush. I saw it right now on Twitter.
And you can, and it could absolutely run some shit on it for sure. Is it a 3 million device botnet? Not yet.
But it will.
But it
that's
could
the Barbara Streisand effect you were talking about.
I mean,
it will.
You can. I'm
you
sure
put it out in the world and it'll happen.
Yes.
I'm sure you can turn on your toothbrush and hit F5 and.
I don't know if everything needs to be connected or hooked up. Can't get this fascination with people trying to hook up every appliances they see.
The other issue, what I call smash and grab vendors, who will release a connected device and then disappear.
Or even beyond that, like maybe they're not a smash and grab, but they're a smash and they want to get that residual. So like I know IP cam companies and stuff that have come out, the IoT IP cams, where you buy their camera and it's like, oh, well, all of our stuff syncs to the cloud and you get the first month free. And then it's like a recurring revenue model, right? And there's no firmware, there's nothing else, and you're just paying for the storage, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there's the smash and grab where the people just disappear. Then I think there's the smash and recurring revenue where people are buying into it and paying them and they should be getting firmware updates, but really they're so cheap and like they're not actually planning to support the device because they're just doing the cloud infrastructure and the infrastructure to do like the web apps to connect to it. And so I feel like there's like a myriad of
There's a surplus issue there that some of the chips that have Wi-Fi capabilities are just cheaper than any other chip they could use. Right? So they're like, well, we don't need the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth, but we'll go with the chip.
I think it was Lozeling posted, and it's like there's a 17-cent Wi-Fi adapter that you can get you can put in a like a power plug or something. Maybe I'm conflating two different things, but it was like 17 cents for this microcontroller with Wi-Fi. It's
whereas
kidding me? Yeah.
From a manufacturer, if you're going to build 1,000, it's like, well, I don't need the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth, but this chip is cheaper, so we're just going to go with this one, right?
It's cheaper and it's future-proof. If we somehow want to have this later on the line, you know, I want to make a product update, a firmware update, and enable it, and say, now you can get Bluetooth on this updated model. You can just get it. I remember, of course, they buy that shit because it's available for them.
I remember one of the first like badges I put together, and I used ESP8266s. I bought those in bulk. I bought 500 of them for like $8 a piece. It was stupid cheap. And I was just like, if I turn all of these on right now, there will be no Wi-Fi for anyone to use in 2.4 gigahertz. Like this is, and it's not even like I'm DDoSing on purpose. It's just literally that many devices would just fuck everything.
So once again, to what I was saying is that politicians, journalists should ask us for insight. Although we're not experts, we know a little bit more about things. In this field, you know, lawyers know a lot about legal stuff. Doctors know. You wouldn't come to me and go, "I have this weird bump here. It's kind of hard. Can you tell me what's wrong with me?" It's like, you need to go see a doctor. But it's like I have this Wi-Fi enabled toy that listens into all my conversations and responds randomly. I'm like, yeah, you might not want to do that.
Yeah, well, feel free to reach out or let us know in the comments below about, you know, if you do need to have some consultation about how hackers work.
At least in the last month or so, we have seen these FUD articles come out in rows, right? Like, yeah, but more so than
social media news magazine, isn't it? You know, it's part of that. You know, so you can have fake TikToks or Snapchat shit or YouTube shit, and it's no source criticism or what do you call that? It's not regulated in that sense. Not traditional media is. So of course, it's going to be a lot of FUD, but it's a massive amount of FUD.
Oh, by the way, quick show note. If you watch the last official episode, not from the cutting floor episodes, we have a new outro. Thanks, Syntax, for sending in the outro. I have a new one that's a bit shorter, so I'll edit that in.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Syntax.
Oh, Grimace, congratulations to going up one. Number 5 in the world right now.
Nice, Grimace.
Very nice. I guess that's
amazing. Yeah.
All right, everybody, stay safe. Don't steal cars.
Don't pick locks with a flipper. Stop botnetting with toothbrushes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You're making 404
When can't have anything nice.
Things.
Stop plugging in vibrators into your computer. Plug them into where they're supposed to go, which is not your computer.
You can't stay clean.
I guess you can call it your computer or your box or whatnot.
You need a USB condom, man.
OMG. Use the OMG ones. Those ones will protect you.
OMG USB condoms are the Trojans of the... Never mind. Hey, MG, we love you. You know that, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, we do. You're a BAM.
We love you, man.
Go hit up everybody, say hi, and then we'll see you next time.
Next time. Love your faces. Miss you.